Hello and welcome to the BTF Podcast. That is the Back to Football podcast, the number one podcast for people who probably should talk about something other than football. Somehow we're already in February 2021. We're on the 3rd of February today. It's a Wednesday, I think, boys. I've fully lost track of the days. I know that is one of the COVID cliches. What day of the week is it? Oh, I've lost track now because I'm always at home. But it genuinely is true. I never really know what day it is. We've got a trio here on the pod at the moment. We're live on Twitch, by the way, twitch.tv/the BTF podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, you could have seen this go out live yesterday. So get your shit together and watch us on Twitch next week and get in the comment section and give us some stick. We would really appreciate that. But yeah, there's a trio in the studio at the moment. We might have a quad coming up if Mr. John Miller can finish all his tasks, and I won't use the phrase get his shit together because I know John Altini's just told me that he's actually doing a lot of domestic stuff that we don't necessarily have to do in our lives. So fair play to John. Now let's introduce the co-hosts that are present in the studio. First up, we've got Mr. Greg Hollands. Greg TMR, how are you?
Yeah, all good, man. Not too bad.
Sweet. I know we're going to come on to it a little bit later, but you're a bit out of 10 at the moment. What's your attitude towards football? 1 being absolutely sick of it, 10 being you can't wait for the next game.
We're down there in the bottom. I think this podcast is keeping me at like a 2 or 3, but without the pod,
yeah, perilous waters.
Yeah,
but we'll chat about that a little bit further in. I mean, I'm probably not too far away from you. I'm sort of around that mid mark probably at the moment. And we're also joined by Mr. John Aldino. How are you, John?
Thank you, Dan. How you doing?
Yeah, man, all good. The timing there, you buffered a little bit and cut out just as I asked you that question. So I'll ask it again. Yeah, you good? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Just kind of days until this is all over.
Yeah, slugging away. I like that hoodie. What's the...
I was going to say that.
What's the... like to say?
Oh, super dry.
It is super dry. Yeah. Nice colours on that. It looks good. And again, if you're listening on Spotify, you won't be able to see the colours. So, what more reason do you need than to head over to Twitch next week? So we've got midweek fixtures on, and there is literally football every single day. I can't actually remember. I think last Friday maybe there wasn't any significant games, but there was still like Championship football and La Liga and stuff. But there is football on every single day at the moment. We've had 2 early fixtures, Fulham being one of those, losing 2-0 at home to Leicester, and also Man City have reclaimed their spot at the top of the league by beating Burnley 2-0. We've also got an early kickoff, or an early late kickoff between Leeds and Everton. Everton have a 1-0 lead through Filthy Sigurdsson. And Aston Villa West Ham kicks off at 8:15, as does Liverpool versus Brighton. So much football. Is it a good thing? Because I know, like, in the first lockdown and the first part of lockdown, when they did actually just like call it all off and sack it all off, we obviously were just like were sort of can't remember. I don't know what's the word. I want to say fawning, but I don't think that is the word.
Pining for it.
Fawning. Yeah, we were kind of, we really, really missed it and couldn't wait for football to come back. I'm still enjoying it, but it is relentless at the moment. And I think if you perhaps support clubs, and I think all 3 of us actually can probably attest to being supporters of clubs that aren't necessarily killing it this season. It does kind of just add to. It can add to sort of a bad mood, a bad atmosphere in your life, or it sort of exacerbate things when there's not a lot going on. Greg, you talked about maybe like, Spurs being something that you could look forward to each week.
Yeah, man.
At the moment, it's not there, is it? It's not there.
Well, exactly. You hit the nail on the head, really. It's like football is sort of one of the only consistent things we can look forward to. And when you can't even look forward to that, it can only sort of... And also you can't just, like, if your team have had a bad game in normal times, you can just go to the pub with your mates, or you're probably watching it at the pub and forget about it. You're talking about the next thing. It's so difficult in lockdown when you wait a whole day to watch that 90 minutes, and then the 90 minutes is pretty shit football in my case. That's all you're thinking about. That's all you're thinking about. I think it's difficult for people for sure.
Yeah, so Spurs, I guess since the last show, they've played twice. Is that right? They played
I think so, yeah. Since the last time I came on, I think there's been quite a few games.
Yeah, so obviously you played Liverpool last Thursday. I think that was 3-1 in the
3-1.
end.
Yeah,
and
3-1.
Then Brighton, obviously, on Sunday, I think it was, losing 1-0 down there at the Amex. Yeah, it's all kind of gone a bit wrong for Mourinho. I don't know whether... It's hard to tell whether we're kind of witnessing another Mourinho breakdown and you know, the parting ways between Mourinho and another squad, or whether it's just a natural blip in form. I think it's really difficult when a Mourinho team does start underperforming to not go, oh well, you know, we've seen this before. This is Mourinho sort of like edging his way out in the sort of second to third season.
Right.
But yeah, John Aldinho, what's your thoughts on where Spurs are at the moment? Obviously, the Harry Kane injury seems as significant as maybe the Van Dijk injury for Liverpool. Even potentially even more significant, really, because they do seem to be kind of firing blanks a little bit up front at the moment. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that kind of Mourinho effect as a Chelsea fan? You know, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, having lived through 2 Mourinho eras, it's difficult. It's difficult because you go through it thinking, like, the football's so bad, and you're not getting results. Why is he melting down? Why is he being so, like, the complete opposite to what he was in the first year and a half? And it's just like, what's your problem? I think injuries haven't helped Spurs. Some of the players that you guys have got in haven't helped. You know, honestly, notably Bale. I mean, it's great to have someone like in the locker room, but is he the person that you guys needed? Probably not. I know you guys need another centre back, which, you know, Rodon looks amazing, but he's still young and he still has that little, you know, he can turn off at certain times, which is not what you want. You do need, like, especially if you have Dyer as your main centre back, you need someone who's actually a bit better than him.
Yeah.
And it's difficult in being Tottenham and having Dele Alli as your chairman. It's really difficult to expect certain transfers to come in, and knowing Mourinho's history, he's always going to make it difficult with the higher up, you know, with Abramovich, with I forget
Perez. Is it Perez?
Yeah, I think you're right. Florentino Perez, and then now with Levy,
apparently this week.
Oh, wow.
He's just not getting what he wants, so he's taking out on your club, and it sucks.
Yeah, for sure. I think that there's like a myriad of issues going on within Spurs, and I think that, you know, we all got very excited when we were at the top of the league, and we got very excited with Bale coming back way back when. But I think that if you do look back and connect the dots, you can see the cracks starting to show. I mean, Levy did very well from the Amazon documentary as well. We mustn't forget that came out that year. Levy brought Mourinho in so that he wouldn't have to spend on a rebuild. I mean, if you remember the interviews with Poch going back, Poch was screaming for a rebuild. He was saying, look, it's all well and good having a great house, but if you haven't got the furniture to fill it, you can't do anything. Poch was not supported throughout his time. I think there's 3 transfer windows where he spent nothing. I think there was like a net spend of 10 million, things like that. And Mourinho, the purpose of bringing him in is that, right, okay, this is the manager that with this squad can instill that winning mentality and do it. And I think you look at the players as well. We went with mentality rather than actual performance and talent and any other reason with that. You know, Bale, I mean, I love the guy. I'll always defend him. But it's such an obvious PR move. I mean, I think I was saying in the group chat with you lads, if you put Bale's wages for this year that will have him against the shirt sales that you'll have got in this year, if you're Daniel Levy, you're thinking, okay, cool, it's worth the expense of paying 300k a week. he's just not. I mean, I think that I stand by it. I think that the night is still young for Bale. I think he can have a few moments in the Spurs shirt, but he doesn't stay beyond this season. We don't renew his loan. Why would we? I think that definitely, and the Joe Hart signing. I mean, he was a free agent, of course, but you look at. We've got so many cheerleaders in our dressing room, which is great, and that's cool. Sometimes you need a few of those, but fuck me, you look at how much we're paying them. You look at what that money could have gone towards. Joe Rodon, you're absolutely right. He's going to be great, and he's brilliant for Wales. He plays with such confidence, but he needs a partner. He needs a sort of Van Dijk character to play off of and to lead that back line. Eric Dyer isn't that man. Alderweireld probably was a couple of years ago, but he's looking knackered. I think he's prone to making a few mistakes. He did brilliantly against Brighton in that dive-in block. But apart from that, I mean, and this is what I mean. We're now seeing it because the results aren't coming in. The kind of football we're playing is consistent, and it was fine when we were getting results and doing well. But now that we're not getting results, now we're all sort of realizing, oh, okay, this is an issue here. And a lot of the conversation in the Spurs community is the crisis word is going around a little bit, because it's like if Mourinho doesn't deliver and Mourinho goes, where does that leave us? And I see Tottenham falling off a massive cliff after this era of management, if you want to call it that.
So what happens if you win something like the League Cup, but come out of the top four? Like, how would you feel?
I mean, I definitely think that it's great to win a trophy, and we'll all love that. Don't get me wrong. I'll be buying Carabao energy drinks for the next 10 years. And I think that it gives Mourinho money in the bank, because Levy wants trophies for this club. You know, he's made a point of it. But I think anything other than, if we don't get any European football at the end of this season, despite a Carabao Cup, I think it's difficult for Mourinho. But I think that the Carabao Cup win, I think, Dan, you made the point that he's very lucky that that's happening in May instead of the usual February.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great point. But yeah, for me, I mean, we can be, and we should be, a European team. That shouldn't even be a conversation point. Whether it's Champions League or Europa League, it doesn't really particularly bother me, really. But we need to be in a European conversation. And if we aren't, we need to really look at why we're not.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly... It is that fine line between Spurs being a business and Spurs being a football club with ambition to win things. Yeah. And I think that's probably the difference between, say, Abramovich and Levy, is that Abramovich, his actual business things are, as far as I know, I don't know whether he's still actually even an active businessman or oligarch, whatever you want to call it, but you know, his business interests aren't in the UK. They're in Russia and the Ukraine. I'm not even 100% sure on, was it iron ore or titanium or something? I don't know what his
I'm not
net worth. I know it's within some sort of commodities. Whereas I feel like Daniel Levy, his business interest and his business, you know, and the money that he's interested in is Spurs, as they are the business. You know, 100%, it's not it's the same with City. You've got the Abu Dhabi investment group that are literally that. They're an investment group, so they've got fingers in pies all over the world, and then they've got Melbourne City FC, New York City FC, Mumbai City FC. You know, it's this big multinational conglomerate thing that is funding it, whereas Spurs literally is like a local company in North London that are like doing their thing, and it is quite incredible that they are competing for the Champions League, or they got to the Champions League final, and they're still a major player in the Premier League. You know, when you look at what they're up against, it is incredible, and you know, Daniel Levy is one of probably the best chairman in the league. John Miller's going to join us here, but
I all of that, like, but it's such all of that.
Yeah,
carry on.
No, you go.
It troubles me because it's like we are a brilliant business. We're not acting like a brilliant football club, and the ambition doesn't look like we want to be a brilliant football club. because you look at the Amazon documentary. Yeah, we did brilliantly. Levy looks like an absolute don in that. Incredible. Our actual owner, he's the chairman. Our actual owner's swanning about in the Bahamas, living on a yacht. He doesn't give a fuck about it. The ENIC group, or whatever they're called, they don't actually care. They don't want to spend big bucks on any players, and it's worrying because we've been so blessed with some brilliant players like Gareth Bale in his prime, Harry Kane, Heung-min Son. Harry Kane, I can see leaving at the end of this season. I wouldn't blame him. You look at the money we got for Bale. That's a prime example. We got 100 million for him. Where the fuck are the players that we spent on him? Eric Lamela. That's who's left. And he's a waste of a shirt when he comes on. Yeah, he has his moments, and he did the Rabona, and it's brilliant. But when I was watching the Brighton game, bringing it back to that, John walked in with a smile on his face. When I was watching the Brighton game, I made a list of 8 players that I could see leave in the summer and not feel a flick of emotion. And they're all players that have been there for, the documentary made a point, they've all been there for 5-6 years. They're comfortable. They're comfortable. They're waste of a shirt when they're on the pitch. When we went 1-0 down to Brighton, I didn't see us scoring. I didn't see anything coming on. Vinny, who we got in to be a replacement for Kane when he gets his annual injury, didn't even start the game.
Annual injury.
It's ridiculous. I don't understand. Vinny's another point. There's a 46 million loan to buy clause on him. He's not staying. We're not spending 46 million on him. He hasn't been given a chance to be worth 46 million.
It's interesting though, because when Dan was bringing up the owners, Tottenham is actually how do I say this? So Tottenham have Levy, who his only company, to my knowledge, is Tottenham, and we have Abramovich, who has other businesses. We have Sheikh Mansour, who has other businesses, and then you have someone like Kroenke, who has other businesses, but does not care about Arsenal. So it's at the Emirates, you have like the flip side, which is really, really weird. And it must be interesting being an Arsenal fan, knowing that your club's finances are being sucked by this American, and you're not putting the money back in.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jonathan?
Oh, we can't hear you.
Can't hear him.
He's just connecting audio. Some technical issues.
You ruined my segue.
I still can't hear him. All right. Yeah.
Is that any better? Is that better?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, you're in.
I'm back.
You're
I'm
in.
back. Oh, good segue, John. Good segue. Sorry, I'm late. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I think the difference with Arsenal is it's not like when Kroenke came in, but we were like Chelsea before or United before, and then he's come in, and then we're now not. Even before he came in, we were never really like big spenders. It was always, I don't know whether they just were addicted to it and they found a little niche and just was doing it, but it was always, I mean, who had heard of Robert Perez, Freddie Ljungberg before they came to Arsenal? It was always trying to find a gem, trying to find somebody that probably one of the biggest names that we got over that sort of era before Kroenke came was like Bergkamp. Like, he was quite known. The rest really, not really. Sharvin, maybe Reyes was doing a few bits, but that's why I think the reason why Arsenal fans are a bit annoyed because they're like, okay, now we do have money. You've second largest stadium. I'm not sure if Tottenham's overtaken it now. I can't remember what the capacity of Tottenham's is.
62,000.
Yes, I think Arsenal's still the second largest stadium in the Premier League. 65,000. We did all this, and Kroenke came in so that we could compete with Bayern Munich, not lose 10-2 on aggregate. So I think that's where it was. It was like, if they didn't say all that, if they were like, yeah, we need to move to the stadium, just, it's too small, regulations, etc., not, oh, this is going to put us on the map. I think Arsenal fans would they'd have less to moan about because we were never buying the most expensive player. They were always going to United, and then they'll go to Chelsea, and now they're going to City. We were always getting maybe the 4th or the 5th, and then trying to make it work. But then they said, no, we're going to compete. And we were sold a dream by Kroenke and stuff. So yeah, and then when you hear the figures at how they're all getting loads of money and he's just chucking loads of money out, and we have to sell players to buy players, it's like what is going on? But yeah, the owners and stuff, they have a massive impact on clubs. Really, they own the club, but and the decisions they make, like Levy and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Danny Rose. I don't know why they don't just let him go. I'm not sure what the situation is with him.
Well, I mean, Dele Alli didn't go because it was all ready to be signed, but we wanted a replacement for him. You want a replacement for someone that's sitting at home, mate? Give me a ring. Like, I'm filling the same role on that pitch as Dele Alli is at the moment. And then you got Jose Mourinho coming out in press conference today saying, "Oh, we've had a talk, and we've found some common ground." It's like it's ridiculous. There's a lot of crack showing, and I think that this season will really be pivotal in if we come out of it with something or not. But
I think what was interesting was the amount of pundits on the free stream of the Sky Sports that they did of the transfer deadline. When you don't have Sky, you got to take what you can get. The amount of pundits and people that were coming out in support of Dele Alli saying, I mean, Harry Redknapp was class, and like he was as always, and he was like, get him on the pitch. You mean to tell me, like, you know, he was one of your best players. You know, he's in the England team. You know, he was in the team that got you to a Champions League final. You know, what's the deal? Like, why is he not playing? And you're not like, you know, your form is up and down. Your fans are talking about, you know, playing attractive football, and you've got a talented player like that just not playing.
Well, we're lacking any attacking intent on the pitch, and Dele Alli brings that. I mean, one of the things that I like Dele Alli for is that he's not afraid to make a mistake. If he runs into a position and he gets tackled, loses the ball, he doesn't care. He'll pick it up and do it again. But we need that. Like we're just lacking that attacking presence. And I think that the problem is at the beginning of the season we were doing very well and scoring lots of goals, and Harry Kane, son. I think that you can look at it and say United didn't have a pre-season much when we played them. City, missing Aguero, didn't really have much of a pre-season. Arsenal were going through their period. It's a different story now. Everyone's been playing games, and we were saying at the beginning, at such a tempo, we're going to be found out. And, you know, I mean, praise Son all you can, but in the last couple of games, he's gone missing, really. I mean, I've not really seen much, apart from the disallowed goal at Liverpool. I've not really seen much from him. And if we've not got Harry Kane on the pitch for injury and Son's not performing, I don't see where the goals are coming from, if I'm honest.
What's going on with Bale? What's going on with Bale? What happened? What happened to him?
Yeah, man.
He
seems to be just like overplay. Like, it feels to me like he's just done with football. Like he's just resigned to the fact that, and I know that was the big argument when he was at Real Madrid, is that he was you know, cared more about playing golf and maybe playing for Wales and stuff like that. But I just don't see the desire there from him, and
for sure.
It's kind of the same with Dele Alli, not quite the same circumstances, but I feel like he just looks like he's emasculated. Like he doesn't have the same. He's lost his like spark and his pep and his passion for the game, and that, because he had quite like a bad boy kind of streak.
Yeah.
But I do wonder like whether the documentary, when it came out, and I to be honest, I'll admit I haven't watched it from start to finish, but I watched probably about 2/3 of it, and I know that most people, when they watch something, they watch the first few episodes and then they might not finish it. But like the quite early on in that documentary, you've got Mourinho sort of like candidly like watching Dele Alli and going, "Oh, he's fucking lazy. Like this guy's lazy. Like he needs to." You know, he needs to up his game, and then I know, like in the documentary, it's good because they kind of really humanize him as a player. It really humanizes him that he's got these layers and emotion. But actually, once you put that out in the public sphere, you don't have any. He's not got any character to. You can't then pretend to be a bad boy when you've been basically seen like in Mourinho's office, like basically breaking down or like admitting that you think you're shit and that you have bad days and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like he's lost his mask that he could put on. Yeah, mojo, but he's lost that like bad boy image. Like we see him as a frail, or not frail, but like as a human now with feelings and emotions and frailties and feelings, and I think that's got to be a massive part of this, is that Ali, I think, just doesn't really maybe believe in himself anymore. And then that's
I think the lack of fans in stadiums has a massive impact for him.
Yeah.
I think because a lot of the Tottenham fan base are crying out for Dele Alli to be on the pitch, and we all saying how much we love him and stuff. I mean, even when I think there was fans at a Europa game when he played, and they're all singing his name, all things like that. So, and he says in the documentary how aware he is of social media and all of that. And it's like, I imagine it's difficult for him, but also you have to put a little bit of trust in Mourinho, in that he's dropped him a little bit. He hadn't been playing brilliantly this season, which I get, but to drop him completely, especially when we need a player of his qualities, you could say, I mean, you've been in management for long enough now. You should be able to deal with these kind of players, or any kind of player, or have a measure of what to do with these kind of players. And you've been working with him specifically for 15 months now. You should be able to say something to light a fire under his arse and say, look, you go out and win this game. Oh, you're a fucking hero, mate. I don't know, but you don't give him that option by leaving him at home.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like the longer that Mourinho's been a manager, and I'd even say that his own kids, the older his own kids have gotten, I think maybe his attitudes to people and his attitudes to how he is, because obviously he was pretty ruthless in his early days as a manager. If he didn't want someone, they were out the door. Like, there's no question about it. Whereas it feels very much like the old Mourinho would have just sold Dele Alli, or just like he would have been gone in like 2 months, or whenever the first transfer window was when he came in. Whereas the older, sort of softer Mourinho that we see, and particularly, when he wasn't a manager, during that spell where he wasn't a manager in the last gap between United and Spurs, he didn't manage in between then, did he?
No.
But he did a lot of media work, he did adverts, it was all self-depreciating, like very much playing up to like the character of Mourinho.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know, I just feel like he is a little bit softer as an individual, and I think there's a bit of a conflict probably in his own head with wanting to be a bit of a father figure to Dele, but also the ruthless Mourinho in the back of his head going, well, he's not good enough. He doesn't fit with what I think Spurs should be playing like, or how I think a Mourinho team should be playing. Which probably, I think if you ask Mourinho, like, what's your ideal team, he would still want that sort of Inter Milan team that he had, which was just a ruthless team of just like experienced bastards that were just out there, just hard to play against, great defending. And Spurs don't, just across the board, just not really that.
Exactly, yeah.
And then
sure.
you add into that the level of the Premier League across the board. And these teams, like you say, now they're in their stride. Man City, Liverpool,
For sure.
Arsenal, on a good day when David Luiz and Leno are not doing madnesses over the pitch. But like, it's a tough job, man. And
yeah, we've won two games in our last 10.
Yeah, which is
sackable form. Anyone else at any other club, that's sackable form.
Yeah,
I got sacked for that.
No, I will say, we're kind of all over the place at the moment, aren't we? I will say, like, everyone seems to be doing it. Like, Wolves have just come off their 7-8 game unbeaten, losing streak.
Yeah,
Arsenal. I hope we don't go on another one, but we had ours. At the beginning of the season, Man United, they were talking about, I've got so many Ollie at the wheel memes. It just seems like everyone's just taking their turn, just because, I don't know why, whether it's COVID, no fans, but it's just everyone's just having their turn.
Yeah, I agree.
I think, I don't know. I still think there is something special about Mourinho. I don't know whether Tottenham's the right fit, but I do think that there is something special about him. But I just think, I think with this with Chelsea as well, I think maybe patience might be key. Like, and this is coming from the person who's saying Arteta out.
Oh, we lost John. Oh no.
Sick. That's why it's still so close. Like, even City never had a losing streak, but they were picking up some draws early on in the season, weren't they? They were drawing a few games here and there. It was like are they going to get a striker? They need to get a striker, and slowly they've churned it out. So there's still 20 odd games to go for most teams. Wait, have I got that wrong? Calculated that wrong. About 18, 17 games to go for most teams. I think this is kind of a write-off season.
I agree to an extent, but if you look at the manner in which we're losing games and dropping points, and look, there's no shame in losing to Liverpool, of course, but having a 1-0 lead against Wolves, against Fulham, against there's other clubs, to look toothless against Brighton. We made Brighton look good. Made them look like Brian Barcelona. The way we play football is, you can look at and blame Mourinho, but I mean, I take the viewpoint of he's playing a tactics that just don't work with this team that we've got. You've got Ben Davis, you've got Eric Dyer, you've got Serge Aurier that just does what he wants. You've got Harry Winks, who absolutely disappears in games. Then you bring on Lucas Moura, who does fuck all with the ball. You bring on Eric Lamela. He has these players that he loves the attitude and he loves like the shithousery and stuff. They've got nothing about them other than that. We've got Eric Dyer, who's a centre-back that can't jump. We've got Eric Lamela that holds the ball, tries to do something with it and loses it. There's no intent with any of these players. And it's just getting more and more difficult to watch. Because, and this is sort of another point that got me with the Brighton game, is that, to bring it around to my other point, people around the country are waiting to watch Tottenham play, and they go out and they're toothless and they're spineless and they disappear. You've got people all around the country that are watching them and wanting something good from that week for their own mental health. And you see the players not even putting up a fight. And then you see Jose in the post-match chatting absolute bollocks about how he had no complaints in the second half and the better team win and all. I don't want to hear it. Like, whether you're saying something in the press conferences and then something different in the changing room, that's fine. But be aware of the situation and who's watching the games and how they're feeling at what you make them feel. Because football is about what it makes you feel just as much as any team wins anything. We're not feeling anything at the moment. And I'm taking a break from football, as I said to you, lads. I'm not going to watch it for a couple of weeks because it's just not any good for me at the moment.
No, I hear that. Yeah. I think, how long's Kane out for?
We're hoping that he's back for either the Everton or the Man City game next week, I think.
When's the North London derby?
Not sure. Mid-March.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
He'll be back, yeah. Lo Celso's out until March.
He's for me, he's a world-class player. You get him back in.
Lo Celso?
No, yeah, well, he's quality as well. But Kane, you get Kane back in, I think he just makes the team click. You have there's players like that. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to compare Kane to my under 12 striker at all, right? But it's funny, right? I got this striker here called Ewan, and when other coaches watched him play, they're like, some of them are like, John, why do you rate Ewan so much? Like, I don't really. And when he's not in the team, we don't play the same. We just don't. It's just not the same chemistry. It just doesn't. Things don't work. You sub kids off for 20 minutes or whatever, or he's not available because whatever. Not the same. But when he's there, he's top goal scorer. He hasn't got that much ability. He's not that Messi. He just knows how to score goals. Like, he is literally like Harry Kane. Like, he just scores goals, right? But he also. I don't know. He makes other people play better just by him being there, and I think that's what Kane has. He just, when the team know they're going out there and they've got Kane leading the line, I think it just gives them an extra 10%. And I think Spurs are so not dreadful, but they're such a different team without him. It's not the same for Aubameyang. I think Arsenal can play the same way with or without Aubameyang. I think Kane is just so pivotal to the way they play. Similar to like Drogba, and it's like Mourinho, he has to have that kind of player playing up front for him. Like, they're the focal point of the team.
Yeah, for sure.
And when they're injured, I think he just struggles to find another way.
Yep, I agree. And I think that even if we didn't have Højbjerg this season, I think we'd be even more fucked, because I think he has got a presence, and I like the way he speaks in post-match. I think he will be future captain of the club. Certainly better one that Hugo Lloris has been at the moment. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it all falls apart without Kane, which is a difficult position to be in.
We'll park it there for Spurs. Actually, quick predictions for it's Spurs versus Chelsea Spurs. I think tomorrow. I think it's at Stamford Bridge. But yeah, predictions for that game. Come to you, John Aldinho, first.
I think it'll be 2-1 to Chelsea.
2-1 to Chelsea. John?
I'm back in Spurs. I think Mourinho's very good when he goes back to his old clubs. He likes to rub it in and do his little moves. So I'm going for a 2-1 Spurs win.
And then Greg, will you be watching it for starters?
No, 2-0 Chelsea.
2-0 Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel, obviously, it'll be his third game, I think, in charge, or second, third, isn't it?
Third.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your early thoughts? Just a quick summary, John Aldinho. What are you thinking about Tuchel so far?
It's good. In our past game, pure domination against Burnley. They had one shot on target. We had a bunch of shots. Yeah, man, it was good. It was nice. It was nice to see us winning and nice to see us actually have control over football and do something with it, as opposed to just playing backwards and sideways passes. So it's weird though, because it reminds me of Sarri ball, but better. And yeah, I'm not complaining. We've done enough complaining today, so.
Yeah, and I mean it's only going to improve, isn't it? Week to week as well. The more time he has with those players in training.
Interesting. Sorry, Dan.
No, you go.
It's interesting how managers come in, and I mean, I thought Alonso. I thought he retired or something. I didn't know where Alonso was. I just haven't seen Alonso. Like, has he played a game? Was that his first game of the season or something? Like, I just haven't seen him.
It's the second game, but in his first game, he played like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's just mad how he just comes in and he's just having an impact straight away.
Yeah.
You know, Hudson-Odoi is pushing high. He's starting. He was never starting under Lampard, really, was he? Unless it was, you know,
recently
Carling Cup or something, or League Cup. So, yeah, it's mad how, you know, he's come in and you know, everyone's doing it now. You watch, you know, the fullbacks are literally playing so high up the pitch. I think that's it was a key feature that I noticed.
It's a key position, isn't it? Yeah. There's talk of Callum Hudson-Odoi maybe playing one of those wing back roles, dropping him deeper.
He played right wing back against Burnley. It was quality. Like there's a clip where Sean Dyche was talking to someone, and he's like, "Hey, switch on." He's like, I don't know where the hell he is. And then when we took off Hudson-Odoi, he had a little brace, and he was like, "Oh yes, thank you." He's going off. Got tormented. I can't remember who it was, but it was so funny.
There was even I think yesterday. Obviously, Luke Shaw's been brilliant in that position, and he's kind of emerging as the sort of, I would say, favourite at the moment for the England role at left back. But I think he got subbed off at half time yesterday in the 9-0 match, and Fred dropped in sort of at that left wing back role. But yeah, it is interesting to see how that, you know, it's almost like now if you're a midfielder or you can be as an attacking player as you want, as long as you've got a bit of defending in you and the ability to press more than actually to tackle. I mean, obviously someone like Wan-Bissaka, it's a different story. Like, the guy is just all about, you know, making challenges, making tackles. But yeah, even, you know, Fred dropped in there, like you say, Callum Hudson-Odoi's played there. I do think, you know, that there's if that is to become more of a kind of prominent role in the Premier League, I'd like to see Ryan Sessegnon back in that position for Spurs next season. And he's been doing all right. He's been doing all right out in Germany. I think he scored last week. So hopefully, if Mourinho is a long-term thing with Spurs, that he has Sess in his plans. Greg, you've got the club challenge thing for us.
Yes.
How do you want to do it? I think maybe we go John Aldinho, John, and then me. So if me and John take our headphones off, and then you do it to John Aldinho, then give us one thumbs up. John will put his headphones back on. You do it with John, and then after that, do it with me. Yeah,
sounds good.
I'll leave you to do it.
Lead, blimey. Cool. All right, cool. All right, John Aldinho, you know the score. 10 clubs. First player that comes to your head, okay? All right, let's get started. Newcastle United.
Shearer.
QPR.
Anton Ferdinand.
Leicester City.
Vardy.
Fulham.
Scott Parker.
Bayern Munich.
Ribery.
Borussia Dortmund.
Sancho.
PSG.
Neymar.
Monaco.
I was going to say Mbappe, but he's left. But yeah, Mbappe.
Yeah, fair. Benfica.
Fernandes.
Okay, and Porto.
Porto. Paulo Ferreira.
Nice. Oh, John's not even watching. He's doing something else. He's watching last week's show.
Yeah.
All right, John, you know the score. 10 clubs. Yeah. Tell me the first player that comes to your head as quick as you can.
All right, go.
Newcastle United.
Alan Shearer.
QPR.
Adel Taarabt.
Leicester City.
Jamie Vardy.
Fulham.
Scott Parker.
Bayern Munich.
Robin.
Borussia Dortmund.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
PSG.
Mbappe.
Monaco.
Thierry Henry.
Benfica.
Oh, David Luiz.
And Porto.
Jose Mourinho. Knee slides.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay, Dan the man back.
I'm back.
Okay, so 10 clubs. First player that comes to your head, mind. Newcastle United.
Alan Shearer.
QPR.
Adel Taarabt.
Leicester City.
Jamie Vardy.
Fulham.
Tom Kearney.
Bayern Munich.
Joshua Kimmich.
Borussia Dortmund.
Erling Haaland.
PSG.
Neymar.
Monaco.
James Rodriguez.
Benfica.
I don't even know who he actually plays, but Pizzi.
And Porto.
Do you know what? It's Bazingwa is the first guy that's come to my head with Porto.
That's quality.
Yeah, Bazingwa. And Ricardo Carvalho also popped into mind, but yeah, nice. Right, how similar were our answers?
Our first three were the same there.
Basically, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. Shearer, Vardy.
Scott Parker for Fulham with the other lads.
Parker.
That's what I said. Yeah.
I said Adel Taarabt as well. That's why I laughed. And you said it.
Taarabt. Yeah. Yeah, QPR. Beyond that, like Sean Derry maybe was there for a bit.
Anton Ferdinand.
Christopher Anton Ferdinand.
Yeah,
John Ardino.
Kenny, was it? Paddy Kenny, the goalie? He was there for a while, but
Julius Caesar was there, right?
he was. Yeah, that was crazy. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, Julio Cesar was. Was at QPR for a little bit. Yeah, I like doing that. I think that's a fun thing. We should do that every week and just get generally more obscure with the clubs.
Is there a way to add competitiveness to it? I'm not sure.
How can we? Yeah, so I think to do that, you'd have to have almost like the pointless type.
Yeah, I was going to say
system where it's like name a, or you do the or on the flip side you do what's it called like family fortunes, where it's like we ask 50 people to say like what's something you'd put on the kitchen countertop or something like that. Like but yeah, we could do it that way, like the top answer. And then split into pairs, and because it's a bit like All-Star, Mr. and Mrs. type thing. That's maybe the way that we do it. Actually,
that's a good idea.
Is that we have to split into two, and we have to try and get the same answers as the other person on our team. That's the way we do it.
By whiteboards.
Yeah,
show them on count of
let's
three.
both put it down, and we both got a delta at 1 point for John and Dan.
That'd be fun.
Did you say, who did you say for QPR then? Julio Cesar.
No, I said Anton Ferdinand.
Okay. Yeah. Did anyone watch that the documentary that he did recently about the whole John Terry incident?
No, I need to. It was on my to-do
list. I need to watch it as well. Like it was a BBC thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So hopefully it's still on iPlayer. But yeah, I'd be very interested to see that. I think we'll probably leave the show here. I think we've done almost an hour anyway. But what was the quick reaction to the 9-0 result yesterday? Do you think, as a manager, can you lose 9-0 twice? And I don't think there's no conversation about Hasenhüttl going, but to twice equal the worst loss in Premier League history and keep your job. I mean, he was a bit screwed over yesterday by the Jankovic, I think his name was, the guy that just absolutely fucking took McTominay's leg
worst
off.
challenge.
Within 70 seconds or something.
Yeah,
but
80 seconds, yeah.
I think, that in a way probably saves a lot of criticism on Hasenhüttl, but I don't know. It's 9-0 twice is ominous, to say the least.
Yeah, after 4-5-0, it's the fact that no one's saying, right, this stops now, and we shut up shop. It's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is probably not, it's probably, in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not a coincidence that it has happened twice to a Hasenhüttl Southampton, because he probably has both times gone, nah, you know what, like, you guys got yourself into this, you can just play out, and I'm not going to tell you to shut up shop. I think even in the Leicester game, I seem to remember someone got sent off in that. I think it was Bertrand got sent off in that game
quite early on.
It was a similar trajectory, but yeah, crazy result, and certainly in terms of goal difference in a very close season, that's 3-0 victories in one game, isn't it? Like it's huge down the line for Man United if it goes that way. They're still actually, I'm just looking at goal difference now. They're still 7 behind Man City in terms of goal difference, which is mental. But I guess Spurs did
5 of those is us.
Yeah, Spurs did pump quite a few past them earlier in the season.
I think that was probably what had something to do with it. To be fair, I think they probably went in at half time.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he necessarily brought up the Spurs game, but he probably thought that didn't do us any favours.
Yeah.
Maybe he did. Maybe he thought, listen, that Spurs game didn't do us any favours. They've got, 10 men at that point. Let's go for the throat. Let's see how much more we can get. Turn that around. Because he said it after the game. He said how important goal difference can be at the end of the season. And obviously Man United, they've lost the league on goal difference. I think Chelsea, was it? So
City, wasn't it?
They beat. It wasn't us.
I think it was City. Yeah, that Aguero, that moment.
Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, I think he probably did have that in mind. That Spurs game in mind. I feel bad for Southampton because they played 2 ruthless teams. I think if they were playing Arsenal, the score would have stayed the same. Like they would have just passed them to death. Sort of thing. And it, maybe even City. I mean, you look at City today. They scored 2 goals and then they just kill the game by just passing, take their foot off the gas. But I just think Fernandes was just cutting him open, like it was ridiculous. And obviously you're playing, getting a player sent off, and you've got Maddison and Vardy up against you.
Yeah,
it's just going to be a hard road. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think Cavani as well is. I know I sort of probably sing his praises more than anyone on this show, but he has developed into a very, very good player for them now. And I think he has to start. If Man United want to challenge for that league title, I think Cavani starts every game. That seemed to be one of the arguments yesterday that they were making on BT, is that, why does he sit on the bench for some games? He's clearly like a world-class player still. One of the best strikers that sort of we've had in European football for a while. So, yeah, we'll leave the show there. We'll be back same time next week. If you listened on Spotify, obviously, thank you very much. Give the show a follow on there, but also check us out on Twitch and YouTube as well. John Aldino, John, Greg, hope you have a great rest of the week. We're quite close to the weekend now. Bin day tomorrow for me. It's Thursday. Around where I live, if the bins come, they get collected, and then it feels like the weekend. We can start a nice weekend on a Thursday. But yeah, we'll see you all next week. As ever, thanks for watching. And yeah, let's go Spurs.